Myzone champion 2015 for Spine Naturel Fitness. Great result with your training this year, and thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me.
Not a problem, James.
Okay, so just wanted to fill in the rest of the guys around all the other clubs and just give you a little bit of an insight into the man behind the myth. So just to recap on some of your Myzone results for 2015, 378 training sessions under the belt, 765 hours worth of training, 434,000 calories burnt, and over 100,000 reps last year. The second place for Spine Naturel Fitness was around about 67,000 reps, so a huge effort and well done. Okay, so I just wanted to find, how old are you and how long have you been training?
I'm 64 years of age. I'm 65 this August,
Okay.
2016.
Not 57, no?
No, not 57. I'm not 57. Wrong.
Okay, so what sort of training do you do and why?
Well, I specialise in triathlon. I've been doing that for 10 years and I've always been competitive. Going back to my early days, it was running when I was at school. And then from there, I took up squash. I played squash for about 20 years. And about 10 years ago, I took up triathlon. I'm a member of two clubs, Rugby Triathlon Club and Rugby Cycling Club. And basically, I took up triathlon 10 years ago. And in the last 6 years, I just moved up to the Ironman distance of triathlon, which is the ultimate triathlon you can do.
Okay, and then so have you done any sort of events during 2015?
Yes, I did Lanzarote Ironman, and we do the club events. So roughly, I think I've done about maybe 30 half Ironmen. I've done 11 Ironmen. And then just my local club events I do.
Okay, fantastic. So what sort of diet do you have to support that training and that kind of?
Well, I'm fairly fortunate because I don't know if a lot of people would know this, but if you don't eat red meat or chicken, I only eat fish, which is I'm classified as a pescatarian, and I've only eaten fish now for the past 30 years. I do like a glass of red wine and the odd brandy and whiskey, not all in one go by the way, but I do like a drink. And I think I am fortunate. I can really eat what I want to eat, but because I train most days and train quite hard, as you know, I can get away with it. It's not an ideal diet, but I can get away with it. And I've got into a habit now, especially doing the triathlon, half Ironman distance to the full Ironman distance. I try and use my body fat as energy more than rely on carbs.
Okay, fantastic. So how did you come to start using Myzone?
Well, when they first introduced Myzone into Brandon Hall Hotel, I don't know if you remember, James, but you set up a challenge for the staff here, and if you won that challenge, basically you'd win a Myzone. Unfortunately, I won the challenge, won this Myzone, and by the way, I've got couple of bits of kit at home. The Forerunner 404, nice piece of kit. I've got the polar heart rate, but when it comes to the Myzone, it's slightly unique in your approach to thinking about training.
Okay, so how did you measure your training previously?
Didn't. I know I did pretty well in my age category when it comes to triathlon. So I normally, within the UK, would normally win my age group, and so I just trained without any thought behind it. If I felt tired, I wouldn't train. If I felt tired in the legs, I would swim. If I felt just trying to upper body, I would cycle. I'd try and listen to my body a bit more. But basically, I didn't really have any training method behind it.
Okay, so have you noticed a change in your focus or the way you've trained since you started using Myzone?
Yeah, big time. It's an interesting one. Myzone, along with other hotels and gyms, actually set up a UK challenge and a global challenge. The global challenge I wasn't that interested much in. But the UK challenge I was interested in. But to be fair, I actually started off a little bit late in one sense, because I just thought it was just a challenge. And then what I had noticed was that I'm a very competitive person as an individual. And when I started to creep up the leaderboard on the UK challenge, I decided, well, I just can't do things half-heartedly. I had to try and catch the leaders. And unfortunately, I didn't catch this one particular guy, but at least I came second. But the good thing about it, as you're saying, James, how did I measure it? Because most of my training was on these spin bikes here. I've got the TV screen in front of me, and I could see what heart rate I was in. And that inspired you to work that bit harder.
Okay, so, did you set yourself any sort of goals as you went through that challenge about how many reps you might get or how much training you would want to do?
Yeah, I did. I mean, people might think that I might be a bit sad, but I could actually train 8-9 hours a day, and I'd split that into 4 hours in the morning, say 4 hours or 5 hours in the evening. But I did set myself a goal of doing 800 reps a day, then 900, and as the challenge got more intense, I committed myself to do 12 to 1300 reps a day, which is hard work. So yes, so it did set me a goal. I could actually see it every day I did a challenge. I could see what I burnt off, which I wasn't really bothered about, the calorie-wise, but I just wanted to know how many reps I'd actually accrued that particular day and on that particular session. So it did inspire me to work that bit harder.
Yeah. You talked about as far as you to catch the other leaders within the challenge.
Yeah.
Was there anything that was said, or any sort of like comments, or any sort of page, or anything that have made you sort of driven you to sort of like try a bit harder?
Yeah, I don't know these guys from Adam basically, but on this, it's like a Facebook page within Myzone, and some guy turned around and said, I think his name is Grosh, or something like that, his nickname. He just turned around and said that, well, first place is gone, we're all fighting for second. And I think at the time I was mid-table, maybe about 30th on the table. And when I heard that, I thought, no, I'm going to have a go at trying to catch this guy. And my wife thought I was mental, getting out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning to come down here and train, and then go home, walk my dog, and then come back in the evening and train until I got kicked out by the staff here because we closed at 10 o'clock. so yes, it did inspire me to really work hard, especially when someone put a comment on there that we're going to catch this guy.
Okay, so I suppose you have, doing triathlons, you have your own set training as you go through the year, and there's certain things you do at certain times. Has there been, taking part in that challenge, has there been any sort of impact in your off-season training?
It has actually, because I've committed to do half marathons November, December time. That went out the window when this challenge came up, and basically it changed my training schedule, because I'd already paid to do some half marathons, and it changed it to being literally spinning on the bike for hours on end. What I did notice, which was quite interesting, I've done an event called the Turkey Trot, which is a half marathon, and I've been doing that for about 8 years now. And I'd only ran about 4 times in that November time, and basically it was all bike, and I actually lost a couple of kilo in weight. And then what happened was, I did this event, and I was more than surprised that I was only 2 minutes off my fastest time. So yes, it just shows you how you think you can maybe get away with doing something to do a running event, and I was more than surprised. I learned a lesson from that. Even though I worked hard on the bike, to be 2 minutes down a year older on the same event I've done for the past 10 years, I was quite surprised at that.
Okay, so what advice would you give to someone who's not used Myzone before?
Well, first and foremost, and it's not me to tell people they should get one. I'm only going on from my own experience, that I found Myzone as a piece of equipment very inspiring. And how can I say, I'm fortunate, I've always trained, and training is part of my life. And I'm not going to get away from that. But I meet people that come to the gym on a regular basis who are totally unfit, they're overweight, and a lot of them are quite young, which I'm surprised at. But what it does inspire you to do, and I'll give you an example, there's five zones, or 5 colour zones within Myzone. And just take, for example, the very first zone, the grey zone. Now, the good thing about that, you might come in, and I've seen guys, members of the club who've come here, and they can literally do 10 minutes on a cross trainer. And even though I've sort of got up twice, but when they've got a Myzone on, and you say, look, you're working at 50% on that, in that grey area, then next time you're going to come, you're going to do 15 minutes, but you're going to work at 52%, 53%. And it's just little bite-sized chunks. You're going all the way through Myzone. And if that don't inspire you, then I don't know what ain't going to inspire you.
Fantastic, okay. Well, I'd just like to thank you, Tony, for your time today. Congratulations on becoming Inspire Naturel Fitness Myzone champion. We'd like to do a bit of a prize there, £250 worth of vouchers to spend on your running kits.
Thank you very much.
And do you have any sort of last words for anyone who's feeling up to challenge you in 2016?
Well, yeah, bring it on. And I'm the sort of guy that if you knock out 900 Met points in a day, I'll do 1,000. And if you're going to do 1,000, I'll do 1,200. And the more Met points you do, the more inspired I will do. And if it means that I would cycle or train the whole 12 hours, because if you're doing a Ironman, I've done it for 15 hours. So mentally, I know that I can cycle on the block for 12 hours. So please bring it on. You know, I'll wait for the challenge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, James.